afternoon, everybody. My name is James O'Regan. I'm a virtualization architect at Zenopy, which is an Irish platinum reseller. And I'm going to talk about Citrix Workspace Cloud, what it is, and why you should care. So, just a brief overview. As I said, I'm an architect at Zenopy. I've been working with Citrix technologies for about 11 years. I've worked both here and in the US for large enterprise customers. I also led recently a large res project in Ireland for one of our big financial institutions. CC, I got the Zen Mobile certification recently, Microsoft, MCSA, and RCP. So quick agenda for what we're going to look at. So look at what is Workspace Cloud. How does it work? Some of the licensing is different than normal Citrix products. Lifecycle Management, which is one of the features of Citrix Cloud. So we'll do an overview of that. Then we'll look at some of the new features which have come out recently, which mainly around Secure Browser and the NetScaler as a service, which has just come out recently as a beta. And then post synergy, going on from the keynote, just what that means for Citrix and the direction they're going to take, and then if there's any time, we'll do some questions. Okay, so what is Citrix Workspace Cloud? So it's a management and delivery platform. It's an individual collection of cloud services that can be added to a workspace, and then that can be delivered securely to your subscribers or users. It's hosted by Citrix. It gives hassle-free administration, and it's managed through a single interface. Because it's cloud-based, it's always up to date with all of the latest features, patches, hotfixes, etc. So this is when it initially launched. This is what was on offer. But like any Citrix product, as we know, well, we're now a year later, so what we've had is additional services added, but as I said, like any previous Citrix thing, they changed the name. So now we have, instead of Citrix Workspace Cloud, it's Citrix Cloud. So as you can see, all of the features now changed. You've now got Zen App and Zen Desktop. You have Lifecycle Management, you have Share File, Zen Mobile, Secure Browser, and then you have the Labs section, which is kind of all kind of new stuff that in the way that Citrix are innovating, and they're releasing them as labs. And the Secure Browser one started as a lab function and is now a fully generally available product. So just shows that the advantages of Citrix using the cloud in how agile they can be with bringing new services to market in a very short space of time. So how does it work? Okay, so traditionally all of this would have been hosted locally. So what you've got is Citrix take the Citrix management infrastructure, and it's all cloud-based. So as you can see, you've got Storefront, you have your delivery controllers, which means you have a studio director, your license server, and SQL. So when I first saw this, I was like, great. So the first thing, no SQL to deal with, no, configuring HA and mirroring, anything like that. Citrix look after that. I was like, that's brilliant, that's great. So that's all great, but how does one talk to the other? So what we have is what we've called, to redo this, now the name changes. So you have the Cloud Connector. So it is responsible for communications over port 443 from your local data center or to Citrix Cloud. So what is the Cloud Connector? So it's an agent which installs on a domain joined Windows 2012 R2 machine. all traffic is over HTTPS, so 4443. There's no need for VPN or IPsec. You can work behind NATs, HTTP proxies, and it accesses your SDA for its authentication. So it's completely stateless, just like FMA, and it's very simple to install. Once it's installed, then basically it has its connection to Citrix Cloud, and it is, you don't have to touch it. The updating is done via Citrix Cloud. So, that's the so security concerns. Cloud Connector authenticates and encrypts all the communication between Citrix Cloud and your resource location. The resource location is within the console. You basically define where your apps and desktops are. So so when you configure the Cloud Connector, one of the things next step is you configure your resources and your AD, so it can authenticate into your environment. So as I said, it retrieves information, so it needs an admin password to be able to access the environment. So there's known incoming connections, such as Cloud does not store sensitive information, there's no data at rest, and there's no key management. So in terms of the licensing, so you have a minimum of 100 users. It's a per yearly subscription. It's all done through the cloud. ShareFile is part of it, and it includes SA and support. So that's that. So actually, before we go into the lifecycle management, I suppose the licensing here is, I've looked at this to see if it'd be viable for some of my customers, because there is a lot of advantages around not having the Citrix infrastructure. I have one customer at the moment. They're running VDI in a box, which obviously is end of life. So there are a small amount of in-house Citrix experience. So they, I think for them a solution like this makes sense, because if we go full blown Zen desktop for them, we're introducing delivery controllers, Storefront, all things they haven't managed before, whereas something like this simplifies it. But from what I've seen, the pricing doesn't work at the moment for customers. I think it's still too expensive. I had a quick look, and I think it was for the desktop and apps, it was like $360 per user or something like that. So it's rather expensive. So I think that's going to limit the amount of customers who will take.
So then every thin client would have to go out to the Citrix Cloud, obviously, to every. So you don't have any infrastructure anymore.
Yeah.
So they have, let's call it thin clients, right?
Yep.
And so I guess every single one of those would then establish its own session out to your cloud to deliver HDX services.
Yeah.
So then you have to be kind of concerned. Locally, you didn't really worry about the bandwidth, right? So now you have this latency, right?
Yeah.
So where's the Citrix Cloud located? I mean, you're not using Amazon, right? You probably have your own.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I should have meant. It's hosted in Azure. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wherever Azure is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here, obviously, Azure is hosted in Ireland quite substantially.
That's right. Well, yeah. So you're all set.
Yeah, but yeah, wherever Azure has a data set,
Okay.
it's the whole control plane is hosted on an Azure platform.
Okay.
So
even mine you get, then that's your gateway on your own location.
Yeah.
So in latency wise, connection between your thin client and your application itself, that's what you control. It doesn't need to be hosted at Azure.
Sure, but what you had was your domain controller, I assume, was what you were establishing that connection locally for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for your authentication.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you're still getting all your services from the cloud.
Yeah, like the connector does the authentication, proxy, identity, etc.
But that's not a single point of failure. I don't have to use it as my conduit up to your cloud all the time. I mean, your cloud's using that to get my authentication token.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So is it really aimed more towards, you know, smaller customers who don't want to have an infrastructure footprint, or is it, you know, realistically enterprise worthy?
It's a joint vision. It's absolutely enterprise ready, but I mean, conversations about storefront and that kind of stuff. There are certain components that you're going to want to buy on like storefront at a certain point. I mean, for example, if that internet connection goes down, the storefront isn't going to work online. Whereas if you have a locally deployed instance of storefront, you can point it at the connectors and that will work too, you know. So it is absolutely enterprise ready. There's, you know, depending on where you're going to start, depending on where you're going to go from that point forward. The barrier for any large enterprise at the moment, in my opinion, is most of the large enterprises already have the licenses, and there isn't a direct trade path last time I checked over to Citrix Workspace Cloud.
Okay.
So it's net new subscription based. So.
Yeah.
So do you get to pick, if you want, does it have to be a platinum license, or can you go to enterprise or advanced?
So you have the licensing covered off on this?
Yeah, like already.
Well, okay, well we'll come to it later. So don't jump through.
No. It's back. Because I came back just to. There. So
yeah, like you can subscribe to just apps and desktops. You can subscribe to apps and desktops plus share files.
Yeah. You can subscribe to the individual services that you're acquiring, or you can do a whole suite.
So I guess in terms of the zone feature that you've now got available to us, this kind of just discounts any requirement for that, because you've got machine, you don't care the fact that you've got machines over here, machines over there.
Yeah.
They're connected up to the cloud. And
yeah.
So you don't care about the zones.
Yeah. Okay. So next thing we wanted to look at was within Citrix Cloud you have what's called Lifecycle Management. So what Lifecycle Management is services and application management. What you have the ability to utilize blueprints to automate and standardize services for deployment and management of your infrastructure. It supports virtualized environments, so it's not just cloud, so it's your local on-premise stuff, private or public clouds. You can monitor service performance and availability, and you can measure scalability and look at patch management, etc. So it accelerates deployments of Zen Desktop, Zen Outbound, Zen Mobile, and because it's one console where you can just, it's one pane of glass that you can look at and deploy, manage, etc. So this is what Citrix Lifecycle Cloud looks like. As I said, resource location is wherever your apps, your desktops are located, or etc. Or your hypervisors, so you can deploy your apps and desktops. So you have the ability to there's a blueprint catalog which I'll come on to now in a second. Yeah. So you have you've got default blueprints from Citrix. You also have blueprints from Citrix Ready partners, and it's also open to the community to upload various blueprints. So you can see here's some of the Citrix examples. So here's like Zen App and Zen Desktop. You can do a proof of concept. You put in all the information, and it basically spins up a proof of concept environment for use. Then you've got some component ones, you've got some Citrix Ready partners, and then you've got some community ones as well. So to deploy your blueprint, so as I said, you've got your blueprint, you've got your library, so you pick whatever blueprint applies to yourself. You specify the environment where you want to do your deployment to. You set the scale and your load, etc. So set your deployment size for your VMs, and you configure your data center components, so DNS, Active Directory, SQL, etc. And you deploy your deploy the blueprint, and it will do the automated installation and configuration of whatever is specified in the blueprint. So, why would people look at Citrix Cloud? Well, as I said, you have simplified management. Everything can be managed from the console. It's a familiar console if you're using 7.x. It's Studio that you use to. So you have the ability to do, you've got desktops hosted locally, or if you've got them on Azure or Amazon, they can all be managed from a single console. So as I said, less complexity on site. You can reduce your server footprint on site as well, because of the way the infrastructure is managed by Citrix Cloud. You can use Lifecycle Management to automate your builds and your deployments. In terms of upgrades, it's only your VDAs. Everything else is upgraded automatically by Citrix, and as I said, you can use it as a hybrid solution using public kind of local data centers.
Can you choose if you want to go with CR or LTSR?
Sorry?
Can you choose current release or long-term stable release? No.
No.
You have to go with CR.
Well, you can have your VDAs running under that, but your cloud, your connectors, you don't. It's whatever version is running in the cloud. They do an automatic update from the cloud down to the cloud connectors. So you don't have to look after management, but your VDAs can be whatever, you control your VDAs locally.
So in terms of this year, they'd have upgraded automatically to 7.7, 7.8, 7.9.
So yeah, cloud probably now is running 7, 9, maybe even 8. So,
Are the connectors still canary-based data center from an update point of view?
Then
So yeah, they will periodically update your environment without you knowing about it. So for example, your connectors will be updated once a week.
Yeah, but your VDAs are not affected.
Well, yeah, as from an entire infrastructure.
Yeah.
So you can go LTSR or any VDA if you wish, but the entire infrastructure around it.
Yeah.
the connector will stay evergreen. So we'll
Yeah,
update
correct,
itself.
Yeah.
So it's good and bad, you're offloading some of that maintenance responsibility from yourself rather than having to patch as frequently as you would previously, but you still got the behavior patch.
Yeah.
Which you can manage with Lifecycle Management.
Very true. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, some of the, as I said, I mentioned briefly earlier on about some of the new features that have come out and that have started in what was the lab section of Citrix Cloud. One of them is secure browser. So we all know browsers are a pain. They affect so many projects in terms of backward compatibility for stupid browsers like 96, etc., which all that kind of thing. I know of a customer who's they wanted to do an upgrade to IE11. They talked about silly things like forking their entire environment just to have some of their infrastructure still running IE8 stuff for some of their apps and stuff. It's just so web-based apps are getting bigger and bigger. SaaS apps, they're all using them. So what Citrix have introduced is a service called Secure Browser. So Secure Browser, you can deliver web and SaaS applications to any endpoint with very little configuration. So it stays there. You define your URL, you can test it, and then you can distribute it. So the great thing about this is with XenApp and XenDesktop 7.8, you can actually do it locally as well. So you can do it with your internal applications as well. And you can, and I think with the local one, you can do backward compatibility for browser expansion. Yeah.
You can use any browser you want.
Yeah, you can use any browser you want. So you get over that whole browser incompatibility.
If you look at the feature matrix now, it's an extra XenApp secure browser.
Yeah.
Essentially, though, the things that is delivering you can get in some of the other features that you already have.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's, you know, I think another thing that highlights about how good cloud is. Like, you know, we've gone from not having something to it's now included as part of Zen App and Zen Desktop. So, as I said, it's all about how agile Citrix can be in the delivery of all these new features and solutions. So, it can only be good. So, you've got, in terms of publishing your web apps, you've got 3 options. You can do an external app, which, you know, doesn't require authentication. You can do an external app that requires authentication, and as I said, you can do your internal one, and then have them accessed via Netscaler Gateway. So, with that in mind, so with the internal one, so you specify your resource location, where your connections are, give it a Netscaler Gateway, and then you can define your apps and distribute it to your users. So, next thing is, actually, hold on. So, we can see here that's a local Netscaler Gateway. So, the next thing that Citrix have brought out is they are now, I think it's in beta if you have Zen App and Zen Desktop, it's available. But what they've done is they've simplified the Netscaler Gateway and have moved it, you have the option of moving it to the cloud and for securing your apps. So, as I said, there's your cloud, and what they've done is you have now Netscaler Gateway as a service, and it connects through to your environment through the connector, and so it just simplifies the whole process of being able to deploy your internal applications securely without the complexity of having to configure everything around Netscaler Gateway. So where is Citrix Cloud going? Well, at Synergy, Citrix new CEO, Kirill, I'm not going to try and pronounce the second name. So he introduced the whole concept of workspace as a service. So in terms, I think for me that highlighted the importance of Citrix Cloud to Citrix, and that they are now adopting a cloud-first direction with all of their core services, be it Zen App, Zen Desktop, Zen Mobile, ShareFile, and Secure Browser. So this, I can't see this going away. I think this is where Citrix are going. You know, so as I said, this kind of outlines their strategy. What they want is, you know, the management from Citrix Cloud. You know, you can have your traditional deployment, but you can extend it via Citrix Cloud, or you can, you know, do a hybrid approach, or you can do, you know, total cloud native. So what Citrix wants to be the delivery and, you know, management mechanism for all of these different options. So
how are they going to force the issue? Because I mean, it's going to be in their mind. They realize most people are going to start with a hybrid, right? But they're going to try to either give you sweeteners or disincentives.
I don't work for Citrix, so I don't know.
There are people in the room that do. I was just curious. I mean, you
don't
know
yet.
Maybe that's it.
But you know that we do all 3 now, so.
You know, we know where you want to go, so.
Oh yeah.
So,
But that's where every vendor wants to go, right?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
It gets rid of the
But
consultant.
at the same time, I don't see, you know, I see most companies doing this.
Or first.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I think it was Jim said yesterday, you know, if your apps are still, Jim was said yesterday, if your apps are still local, then obviously, you know, you're not going to make that jump because of your latency between your applications, etc. So, you know.
Key's price, isn't it? If you say it's too expensive, they've got to fix that.
I think the pricing is,
that's valuable.
But it is only, it is only something they've launched in the last year, so,
It's only had one name change, so.
yeah, exactly, we've probably got a name
You really
change
can't-
going, so.
You can't really go any further with it than it's going to be Citrix Cloud, you can't really change it.
No, you would hope.
Whoa, we can still call it cloud.
Yeah, just talk to Citrix, cloud. The cloud.
Don't tell us.
So, yeah, okay,
So I have a question, but you can't take a choice where your infrastructure, what is running in the Azure cloud stands, where it stands. You can't say it has to be in Frankfurt, where Azure builds a cloud only for Europe, because of the compliances from the States. Because you said you guarantee that you don't have the user accounts and you don't save anything, but it's all on your side.
yeah,
Because if I go to the bank and I tell them, yeah, we put your user accounts and your passwords all out in the cloud, they would ask you first.
no, you don't put them up in the cloud.
But you have the SQL server from the VCC controller and
Yeah,
running.
There are no accounts in Citrix Cloud.
So yeah, I mean, data sovereignty issues are always going to be the issue. I hear where you're going with that one. I do actually have an open query about that,
Okay.
but I haven't received a response yet as to which Azure instance that you can actually deploy to as a framework.
Because I think the question
Isn't that
would
an
come.
Azure response?
Well,
Doesn't
so-
Microsoft ever respond to that?
So
Microsoft just
said it's
responds maybe, yes.
Huh?
Maybe it's a Microsoft question, yes.
I mean, I don't know, I'm just
So
saying.
yeah, I mean, Citrix own the piece that's being deployed in Azure for the back-end control.
Right.
So it's going to be where is Citrix putting this stuff. We can put our own kind of data sovereignty around stuff by deploying our stuff in our own geo, but from a Citrix point of view, I'm not sure whether it spans US, Europe, Frankfurt specifically, just German stuff. That's
Yeah.
but there, I do have no frameworks. The best thing to do is reach out to the CWC team.
But is your concern where the control plane is situated or what's actually stored within the control plane? Because if
When you're telling me that nothing is stored, it's okay.
No, I'm
When you
not
give me the
saying,
guarantee, then it's okay. Then I give the guarantee to my customer.
I'm not saying nothing is stored.
But we had Microsoft in our company, and we went to the customer, and they not even know where something
So
is.
let me give
what
you
something
context
is.
about the control plane of Citrix Cloud. There's no username, password, or whatever stored in the control plane. Only the SID is needed to do the mapping between an application and the assignment.
Okay.
So the only thing which we store are SIDs, which are useless without context. So it's metadata of the users.
Okay.
That's why the connector is there to do the mapping. So there's no password stored, there's no username stored. So yes, it is an Azure control plane, and we don't specify yet where that is. Yet to be determined if we're actually going to do it.
Do you actually have some say into the site design of what the Zen Apple Zen desktop site looks like? So if you've got if you're a global organisation and you've got US and UK VDAs that need to register to your site, I guess the question is, would you have the US ones registering to Azure in the US?
The zone change you now see happening in the on-premises Zen desktop, that's the result as of Citrix Cloud. Because that's a logical extension of the cloud, that you have multiple resource locations. So it's called resource locations in cloud, that's the zones in Zen desktop. So yeah. Don't want to steal your thunder about it.
it's fine. So, what's the future holds? So, what was talked about at Synergy, this is where, Citrix are hoping to go as a delivery mechanism for any app, regardless of where it's deployed. So as you can see, they don't care if it's Windows, Linux, web, SaaS, iOS, Android. They want to be your one-stop shop for the delivery of everything in your enterprise. So with that in mind, just so if you want to get started and find out more, you can sign up yourself at citrix.cloud.com. There's lots of documentation now. I think there's an entire YouTube channel, and I would recommend the What's New in Workspace Cloud Services YouTube video from Synergy this year, which gives a really good overview of where Citrix Cloud is and where it's going. And one last thing. So, said, as we all know, E2E is a community event, so these are two upcoming events that may be of interest to some people here, so I thought I'd just highlight them. One is the Citrix user group here in Ireland. Our next meeting is on the 23rd of June, and there's all the details, and then following that there's, I mentioned the UK Citrix user group, which is happening in London on the 6th of July. So that's it. Thank you very much.